Some animals can show emotion. These unique creatures are reacting to the death of one of their group with what can only be described as grief. It is the eldest female who has eventually lost her fight with malaria. Beside her body, her 3-year-old orphan. His mother was the most important thing in his life, and without her, survival in a difficult world will become almost impossible. This is the northern end of the great African Rift Valley, a staggering landscape created by fractures in the continent. This is the cradle of evolution for mankind. The world has been transformed in the last few million years by one small plant. Where once there was forest, there are now vast tracts of grassland. And with grass have come new species of grazing mammals. At first glance, you might think you were in the 21st century, but there are important differences. The big cats are actually of the saber-tooth variety, although these ones only have small sabers. And creatures like Dinotherium might look like elephants, but they are 3 times the size, with tusks that curve downwards for stripping bark off trees. But on the edge of the forest live the most remarkable animals of all. A type of ape has evolved that clearly shows the first signs of becoming more human. What makes them closer to us than other apes is not their brains, which are only 1/3 of the size. It's not their skin, which is hairy. It's something they do that other apes just don't. Something that will one day lead them to be described as a missing link. These apes walk upright. These are Australopithecus. Go back 200,000 generations and your relatives would look something like this. They live in groups with complex social structures and are also very political animals. This is Gray, the eldest of the group. He is 30 years old and the top male, but only for as long as the females want him to be. Females are just 2/3 of the size of the males, but Gray needs their support if he wants to stay in charge. Unfortunately, he's no longer getting it. With the death of the lead female, this noisy individual called Babel has now replaced her, and she is no fan of Gray. Bottom of the heap is the orphaned male called Blue. At 3 years old, his social skills are as yet undeveloped. With the death of his mother, he is becoming an outsider. But in truth, the whole group has problems. Last year, there were 12 of them. As a result of malaria, they now number just 8. One reason that our origins are here in Africa is that it's an ideal habitat for an upright ape, a patchwork of forest and savannah. Unlike many of the creatures here, the Australopithecus are comfortable in both the trees and the open spaces. They share the waterhole with Australopithecus, an ancient type of animal that was once widespread, but is now only left in Africa. Fortunately, these herbivores are fairly harmless neighbors, which is more than you can say for Dinotherium. These are the biggest animals in the Australopithecus world. They are as tall as giraffes, but weigh 14 times as much. Even young Dinotherium are worth avoiding. In the weeks that follow, the males continue their squabbling. Blue, meanwhile, sits apart. He still has no idea how to integrate. But this is no time for the group to be divided. These males are from a larger neighboring group. They are challenging Gray for this territory. As the group flees, Blue is in danger of getting left behind. With no one to look after him, he can only struggle to catch up. Without the group, he won't survive. Blue has kept up. But for his group, things have gone from bad to worse. They have been pushed out of a territory they have held for many seasons. Establishing themselves in a new area won't be easy. Walking on two legs is an efficient way to travel and gives the Australopithecus a higher viewpoint than other apes. This means predators are easier to spot. Out here in the open, they must be especially vigilant. The group also needs to stick together. 8 pairs of eyes are better than 1. It is 4 days since they left the forest. They've been pushed north into less familiar terrain. Tired from traveling, They notice the Dinotherium too late. This male is coming into must. His body is pumped full of testosterone, ready for mating. Unfortunately, this makes him extremely aggressive. In the chaos, a youngster has become separated from the group. And now there is 14 tons of angry Dinotherium between him and his mother. The youngster is Babbles. His desperate calls to her are making her blind to danger. Babble tries to reach the youngster, but she is soon running for her life instead. At least Babble distracts the Dinotherium. But then the youngster does the worst thing possible. He continues to call out. They very nearly lost another member of the group. A few days later, they have moved on and found a place that appears to have everything they need. There are trees to hide in, water to drink, and more fruit than they can eat. And there don't appear to be any other Australopithecus around. They only have to share the fruit with the Australopithecus. And they can be scared off if you know how. Hercules has learned to use noise to appear more dangerous than he really is. The group soon start to settle into their new surroundings. For the first time in a few days, the youngest members of the group are playing again. But some things plainly haven't changed. Blue is still on the edge of things. Even though the other juveniles are younger than Blue, they ignore him. With darkness round the corner, it's time to prepare for evening. Australopithecus sleep in the trees because it is safer and make a new nest every night by folding down a bed of branches. Primates were once all nocturnal creatures, but not anymore. Some have evolved great color vision, allowing them to pick out succulent leaves and fruit, but this has come at the expense of their night vision, which is now poor compared to most animals. So for these apes, and in the future humans, the night is a time to sleep. Sadly, the Australopithecus will soon find that this place is not the paradise it first appears. Black Eye has stolen an egg from an ostrich nest. Being able to carry things while on the move is another advantage of walking on two legs. Before she can break into the egg, Gray steals it from her. Dinophilis is a killer of Australopithecus. These cats don't have the speed to bring down fast-running herbivores, so specialize in slower prey that they can kill easily and eat quickly. Later members of the human family will rise up the food chain to become top predators, but in this era, our relatives are prey. When there is no fruit in season, the group's diet becomes more down to earth as they dig for roots and tubers. Australopithecus are masters of the varied diet. They have a number of adaptations for feeding themselves. Hands that have become nimble and dexterous since they are no longer used for walking on. Thick enamel on their teeth to help them cope with tough or dirty food. And ingenuity. Australopithecus can use basic tools like sticks to dig. They are not born with this ability. They must learn it by imitating their elders. And in Blue's case, his lessons were far from over when his mother died. He is having to learn fast because no one else is going to feed him. There is another very important element of their diet. Meat. Out on the savannah, carrion is quick to attract scavengers. Often the Australopithecus are among them. But they have to be fast to beat the vultures. In no time at all, they are all over the zebra carcass. Once again, Hercules tries out his scare tactics to great effect. There is no clearer display of the group's hierarchy than the order they get food. Gray is used to getting the first bite, but he finds Hercules is already getting stuck in. It is nothing short of a coup. Hercules returns to the carcass as top male. At first, the group are unsure how to react to the change of leadership. Gray, meanwhile, nurses his pride in the background. Meat is only a small part of the Australopithecus diet, but it will become more important in the future for more human-like apes. A An increase in meat eating will go hand in hand with an increase in brain size. Meat contains nutrients vital for big brains. Intelligent apes will develop special tools to get meat, until eventually they'll make weapons and won't be scavengers, but predators. Hercules' takeover has an immediate positive effect. There is less internal conflict than there was before. But the group's biggest problem hasn't gone away. It is only a matter of time before the Dinophilis comes back. Blue is in dire trouble. Unable to get to the tree in time, he is now an obvious target for the cat. But suddenly the Australopithecus do something extraordinary. The whole group spontaneously unites and tries to turn the tables on the hunter. For Blue, this is an important moment. Not only has he survived a deadly situation, something more profound has happened. He may be the lowest-ranking member of this group, but he is now at least valued enough to spur them into action. It's a start. Apes have a long road to travel yet. Outwardly, they are almost human, but their brains are no bigger than a chimpanzee's. It will be at least another 2 million years before any ape has a decent conversation. Next time, the lost continent of South America, a world of strange exotic giants and a legendary killer, Smilodon, the largest of all the saber-toothed cats.